Can you speak on, because you've only been in office a couple months, but everyone is excited. And I've heard misinformation about your pitch for the $1,000.
I thank you for that question. The reason why it's so important is because when I ran, we really were talking about the economic stimulus and the economic help that was necessary for our district. So we talked about the People's Prosperity Plan and about the payments, the stipends that we wanted to follow to families that were under 700, making less than $75,000 a year. We put forth the bill, and we've been having discussions on the bills. It's in Ways and Means. And in addition to that, as we're waiting for it to get through the legislative process, we actually allocated for calendar year 2023 $3.2 million to go to Catholic charities to do just that, step into the gap and actually give $1,000 stipend or give $300 stipends or $500 stipends based on what the need is. Now, what we found while I was in DC fighting for everybody and making it happen, there's been a misinformation campaign saying, where's my $1,000? Totally circumventing the fact that this was a legislative position. This was a bill that I put forth, and it's going through the legislative process. And I've even heard, my opponent get up there and say, well, people were waiting on it. You didn't say that. I ran for Congress. As a member of Congress, we put bills forth. We actually try and make it happen for the people based on their needs. So I actually ended up sending out an accountability tool, which tells people what the steps are. Because what we noticed that the reason why the misinformation campaign was even successful in some areas was because you're right. A lot of people didn't understand that bills have to get passed through the House of Representatives, go to the Senate, and then they go to the president. Much less, they didn't realize that it actually takes almost a year to get it done. And that many of the time also, we find that unless it's an emergency circumstance, it has to go through all the committees, and that actually does take time. So I appreciate you allowing us to really talk about it. But what we noticed also is that if we're going to start having more participation in the district, we are responsible for teaching everyone law, the legislation, and how we go through the process. What's concerning is that you have people who are intentionally trying to deceive the district, intentionally trying to deceive the people to make them disgruntled. And the reason why it's so important right now for that not to happen, because we need everyone to come out and vote in this midterm. We need everybody to come out and vote to make sure we have enough people present so we can actually turn the state blue. But we need enough people to actually fight right now with us as we're fighting to make sure we're prioritizing people and not playing political games. These kinds of misinformation campaigns, we usually see them with Trump. He's the father of the lies, father of all these different misconceptions and selling it. So to see that happening now on the Democratic side is disappointing. And I think personally it's kind of disgusting to see it coming from our own. We got to have a standard in this district. And I believe that we have more people who are interested in seeing honesty and truth. So we have to reject those false narratives that are there to kind of get us to eat our own and fight ourselves.
I think